Hey,
Hello.
Hello.
hi everyone. Welcome back to an episode of Call Aboard.
We're
Choo
back.
choo.
I got your whistle.
I know. That's all right. Now you're on whistle duty.
No, we're not. I'm not. You don't want my germs.
I know.
You
That's
don't want my
true.
germs.
There's a there's a reason we are where we are, right?
There will
Uh
be no whistle sharing. No
no
whistle
whistle
sharing.
sharing.
No
Uh
whistles.
But Happy New
well,
Year.
yeah.
Happy New
Welcome everybody.
Year.
2024 here on the Tabletop Express. We're kicking it off with Call Aboard, of course. It's a little different tonight, guys, though. First and foremost, actually, let's just say if it's your first time here on the Express, my name is Chris Barrows. You guys.
I'm Anthony.
I'm Ryan. Hi.
And this is the Tabletop Express. This is Call Aboard. It's our call-in show. You see that above us says call-board.com.
Well, hang on. I need to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Normally, you do call-aboard.com. However, I'm currently changing the URL right now. So you will be able to call in about less than 1 minute. But
There you go. Well, in less than 1 minute, call-aboard.com. You'll be able to call in, be part of a show. You don't want to turn on your camera. That's okay. We're all right with that. But we'd love to hear from you and have you chime in on our topic. I'm not going to have Ryan tell you about the topic. Anthony, tell everybody about this week's topic, though.
I'll give you a big hint right now. How about this?
There it is. 2023.
Top first plays. Right. We're not talking about, this is not top games of 2023, but our top 5 first time plays in the past year. Right.
Yeah.
So you're going to see a good mix of, I venture to say, some more current games and perhaps some older games as well.
Yeah, I think that's the exciting part about this. We will, just so people know, we are going to eventually share our favorite games of 2023. Here's the thing. We want to play more of them. And it's only fair, I think, to judge after we get some of these other games in. For example, I haven't got a chance to play my copy of Apiary yet. There's a bunch of other ones I got to play. So before we start judging on our top 5 and top 10s for 2023, we're going to
But this is a sneaky suckers list because the goal is we're going to have people call in with their first plays of 2023. And if it's a 2023 game, we'll be like, oh, okay, keep that in mind for March.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, we should say that just as we kick off a year, just so people know. In March, we do our top plays of our top games from 2023. And then we go into April where we do our favorite games of all time with our updated top 20 list, which it's a crazy month. It's a lot of fun. But today, let's talk about today. Let's get back on track. And we're talking about our first plays of 2023 and what were some of our favorites. And we've got 5 each. So
I'm going to bring up the screen.
Yeah.
Was that my cue?
There it is. There it is. There's the board. So
there is the board. All right.
Yeah.
And listen.
And the phone lines are working now. So if you go to call-aboard.com, you should be able to go into our not so green room.
Well, our not so green chat room is already very active. Lots of people just saying hello.
Oh,
and
hey.
some toots coming from the Squirrel here.
Tooted as well.
What's up, Squirrel? Hi, Danielle. Hello, hello. Dr. J.
Hey, happy New Year to you.
Well. And happy New Year to Mr. Rao.
Hey, and congrats, Mr. Rao, on
That's right. Shout out to Mr. Rao.
Debut episode today.
New podcast.
Talking tabletop. Right. The theme song.
Let's
Yeah. I will say just we'll maybe we could share that later if we get a chance, guys. I want to make sure we give some love to what Mr. Rao has put together later in the show. For sure. We already have a guest, by the way. I just want to point this out. Looks like Zoe's here as well. So welcome to Zoe, Tyler. I've got a good crew here tonight.
I've already got guests coming in at the big board.
Okay, so that's an excellent guess. However, I made a big decision for tonight's video.
Ooh, okay.
I'm doing games that aren't 2023 releases, so I could save it for the March video. So there's a good chance Snapship Tactics will be on the March video.
Interesting.
Where though? I don't know.
I don't think I did that. So
I I didn't do it specifically, but I will say there will be at least one from 2023 in a sense, if not two, technically. But
Okay.
that's kind of a vague clue. But yeah, again, call-board.com. Call in, be part of a show. Again, love seeing all the people in the chat. We'd love to see your beautiful faces up here with us as well. In the meantime, I did want to ask you both before we get into our picks and start with our number fives, I suppose. What did you think about the year that was from your experiences of first plays, and not just 2023 games, but what was that mix like for you both? Because I played a lot of games that were from I did a lot of catching up, I felt like, on some from 2022. And then I went back in time quite a bit as well and discovered some new ones. So it was a fun year for me in that sense that I played a lot of different games. I think I played 220 unique games in last year, according to BG Stats. So I got a lot of games in
that were new to
from
you?
definitely a lot of years.
220 that were new to you, or just in general?
220 different ones, period. Not necessarily new to me. I didn't look at the new to me stat. I technically could look at that, but I did not.
I did. I have it right here. I played 125 new to me games.
I gotta look it up now.
And they all were games. No. Okay. Well, while you guys look it up,
I'm gonna look mine up too.
Yeah. While you guys look at this pen and paper over here. So with the 2023 first plays, I did focus as well on a lot of 2022 games. I always like to try to play classics that I haven't played ever. So, that was always that. In one in particular, I was very excited about. And then did a lot of solo gaming, some IP games I was excited to try. And yeah, that's pretty much where I am on that.
I do see a guess, and I'm gonna have to answer this one.
What is it?
We got the guess for Seas of Havoc. This has a shot at that 2023 list. It is not on my list tonight. Partially, I will note because I've really only played it solo, and I want to get a game of it in with multiple persons. And to me, that'll be important. So that's actually on my list to play it again with at least 2 or 3 other people, because I really liked the solo play of it for Seas of Havoc. Very enjoyable. I know it's a good pick. It could have been there.
All right. Well, we could jump in.
Would you want to start with your number 5? Whose 5 are we starting with? I guess that's the question.
Let's go with Anthony.
I don't know. You want me to go first?
Because you're in the corner, right? Like, where is it?
Sure. That's me in the corner.
We're going on the logic of right to left. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Nope, I'm just making sure know what the operating
it's
value.
2024, Barrows. All bets are off. Anything's possible. We're turning everything on its head. We are disrupting the space this year, my friends. We are going to be disruptors. We're going to get into good trouble. Good trouble. All right. My number 5 is a party game that I believe came out in 2022. But I played it for the first time this year and played it a few times, and that is Green Team Wins.
Good choice.
Great party game where basically you're going to be answering a question like many party games, and everyone's going to write down their answer and reveal it, and you really want to kind of match with the most people of that one answer to then get onto the green team and continue to get into that majority vote to keep getting more points. You can get and then fall back to the orange team if you get voted or picked into the sort of minority answer of the group, and you can go flip-flop back and forth. It is very engaging. It is super easy to teach. I mean, you're playing within 30 seconds, this game, honestly. It takes longer to pass out the stuff than it does to explain the rules. Okay? Yeah. What I like about this, that as simple as it is, what I like about it that differentiates itself from other games is that the questions that are posed are in 3 different formats. And so you're not always doing the same thing every turn, right? There's like an A or B thing. There's a fill in the blank. And then best of 3. There's a picture, right? So not only is it replayable in that there's all these different, categories and whatnot, but there's different choices on how to pose the questions, and I appreciate that. And Chris, I know you've had a ton of success with this one with a lot of groups as well.
It's so easy to teach, and it's so I describe it as a very flexible game because you could play this and it could go into a very adult game really quick.
Yes.
You could pull questions out from other games and make it green team wins. And to the point that as we've talked about previously, there's a whole mashup of this game with the other two games by Nathan, the designer of this one, and he's made that whole subset of rules with medium and everything ever, right? So I love that. And like, again, I was just playing a game the other day that uses a similar line of questions, not all, but like it has some where I could swap them right into this game and it's green team wins. So it has such replayability. Yeah, I agree. And this was hard to get for a while too. Actually, if I'm not mistaken,
It was.
My copy of Green Team Wins was Dr. J picking me up because I couldn't find it at anywhere.
Okay.
If I'm not, but that's so that's
the 12-player version, because now readily available is the 6-player version.
Oh, for real? I did not know that there was 2 versions. Huh.
Yeah.
So one has more pads and pens, or more cards?
Yeah,
too?
I think it's just more pads and pens. I believe that's the only difference.
Yeah, I think that's it. Look, my really awesome. Yep, there it is. My really awesome. The only photo I could find, by the way, on the left-hand side
is the one on the left.
The actual.
I know, because I took the one on the right at like 1 a.m. yesterday.
I'm like, I took a photo of the board. I didn't take. Well, here's the thing. I think it speaks to the game because I never took a photo of the game because I was immersed in it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the only time I took a photo of the game, normally I'm thinking about it and I'm saying, oh, let me take a photo of this because I might want to use it later. But I was so immersed in the gameplay of it. I mean, we played this at the bar at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is an easy one to get anywhere.
Yeah.
I do want to ask one thing about this one in particular, because I did pull this one out. So let's play it right now. What's the most frustrating video game level? Is it 1, swimming level, 2, lava level, or 3, snow level? Now, don't say anything just yet. Let's look at some comments, and then after the comments are done, we will say the number. You can type the number in the chat for sure.
I'm closing the comments, so I'm not seeing it because I don't want to have any.
Yeah.
I don't want to have any influence here.
I have an answer already.
I have an answer already too.
I have an answer already too.
All right. Let's do it in 3, 2, 1. Ready? 3, 2, 1. It's for sure 1.
Yes.
Look at that. I don't agree. Oh man. Oh, a lot of lava level people.
Lots of votes for lava.
But it's the water stage in Zelda, but also the water levels in Mario drive me.
Yes, that's the one that sticks out. That's the one that sticks out.
Or Ninja Turtles on NES.
Yes, that's right.
Also abysmal.
Did you guys ever play Earthworm Jim?
Yeah, of course.
There is a liquidy level. It's not water. It's something gross, I think. But
the whole game of Echo the Dolphin is just awful.
By the way, we have some more hellos in here. I see Bez in the house. Awesome to see Bez. I've had a chance to
Bez.
Chat with Bez a few times before, and good to see Bez here. I know we're on very different time zones, so I'm glad he can make it. Glad they can make it there. Let's see. We got Discover the Meeple in the house. Yeah, that's true. By the way, what Bez is saying, water levels differ the most from standard. They really, they are this like significant difference. The lava's just part of it, but yeah.
Mitchell Memories has a great point here also about Green Team Wins that speaks to how successful it is. It is multi-generational, right?
Yeah.
You're really just picking something, and it is what it is. Like, you just have to match up every now and then, and you're still going to have fun. And it's one of those games that I'm sure there's a score to keep, but like just one and some of the other game, like who cares, right? You just play and then you stop playing.
Yes, thank you, Baz. I was not sure if it was they or she, so thank you for confirming. And 9:15 there.
Wow. Yikes!
Holy mackerel!
Good morning.
That is a great.
It's good for morning time.
With that note, I believe we have a guest.
We do.
We have a call in, and that is Mr. Ryan Squirrel Clements. And here he
Well,
is.
Hey guys,
Hey,
What's up, Squirrel?
am I echoing or anything like that? Just want to make sure from
you're
last
just
time.
below me right now. looks
No,
like.
no, I don't hear the echo. I think
Okay,
you're
good.
my
Okay,
friend.
good. How you guys doing tonight? Happy New Year's.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to
Happy
you.
New Year. I'm digging the Doom you're wearing.
I put this on just for this.
Oh, good, good.
I was
I've
in
actually-
pajamas before, and I just had to change.
I've actually seen Squirrel in person this year too.
This year, yeah.
That's true.
So
I almost
I've
saw
seen-
Squirrel.
I have not
told
seen
him to turn
you-
away.
I've not seen Espen in person or Anthony in person, but I've seen you, Squirrel.
Well, hopefully they're recovering.
Yeah,
Well,
we're getting
specifically
there.
Espen. I know Espen is not feeling well.
Yeah. No, everyone's here is okay now. So yeah. So during the holidays, for those that don't know, my wife caught COVID, my son caught the flu, and I caught strep, all within like 1 week. And my 1-year-old daughter was perfectly fine and just like demanding everything
man.
the entire time.
Can't believe she's already won, by the way.
Yes, it was rough.
Well, Squirrel, very important question to pose for
Sure.
you. When you're thinking of your favorite first plays of last year, what jumps to mind? And like as a friend reminder for everybody, it doesn't have to be a 2023 game. It's just about that. It could be a game you just happen to discover in 2023.
Yeah, I played a lot of the newer games. There was one year, I think 2021, where I played like 365 different games from like older past. So I played like 2000s games and like 1999 with El Grande and all that fun stuff. But last year I did try to focus on some of the newer stuff. I was trying to get all the 2023 played, which you may know. That's why I came over to play some with you over there, Barrows. But I have two to talk about. One of them did release this year, and it's probably my second favorite game because I can't save Darwin's Journey because I played that 3 years ago on Tabletop
me.
Simulator. So
Yeah.
I did. That's right.
Yeah.
But there is a game that is the end of the trilogy, and I think it's the best one of the three. It has to do with trains as well. Any guesses yet?
Has to do with trains. End
It
of
has trains
trilogy.
in it.
It's Everdell,
Actually, you know what? It doesn't have trains in it.
but it's
previous-
Everdell, isn't it?
No, the previous two had trains, but this
Oh,
one
they
doesn't.
did. Well, yeah, but the final piece of Everdell, that final expansion, the reason it came to mind was it was
Oh,
the
there's
whole
like
theme
5
was
expansions for it. Yes, and it did have like a train car in it. Yes.
yeah.
No, but
They
what I'm
wanted
talking
to-
about,
yeah.
what I'm talking about is Great Western Trail.
Oh yeah. That does.
since
You're right. That one doesn't. That's wait. That's New Zealand,
New
right?
Zealand, that's
That's
right.
the one that doesn't have that.
and,
Let me pull
like,
that up.
It's funny too because the first time I played it, I played it just to learn it, but the second time was with a bunch of people, and I just could not, for the life of me, stop saying cows, even though they're sheep.
Yeah.
I just kept on saying, I'm going to get the white cow, I'm going to get the black card cow. I just kept on saying that. But Great Western Trail New Zealand has a bunch of things that they added to it that differs it a lot from the original and from what's the second one?
Argentina.
Yeah, Argentina. Argentina has some kind of like an assembly line kind of thing, which I didn't necessarily care for. It was a little difficult to understand, but once I got it, it was okay. This one helps out with the deck building factor of it, where there's cards where it doesn't change pretty much your hand. It just gives you a benefit with a card, and you immediately draw another card to refill it whenever. So like you will always have the cows or the good set of stuff in your hand. But I do love the system of this. They balanced a lot of things. There's no one true best faction or worker set to go for in this game. They changed the fact that like in the original Great Western Trail, if you were a builder, you pretty much had all the money because a lot of people would either pay you or they would slow down while you sped up through your buildings. This one, it's a little difficult because you can build your buildings, but like you also need to build up the sheep shearers in order to get a good amount of money. How many of you guys have played this, by the way?
This one, not at all. I've only played the original Great Western Trail.
Okay.
Yeah, and the original Great Western Trail, it was I need to get another play of it because I was like, okay, it's all right. But this one looks intriguing. When you talk about the balance of it, that's
Yeah.
striking to me. And did want to bring up Bezifa. Great comment here. My biggest memory of this is being told how little the map looks like New Zealand. Hasn't played it yet. It's a good. That's a. I don't always think about how accurate the maps look, but it is interesting how because I think of Ticket to Ride, how accurate, quote unquote, Manhattan would be in that one. No, New Zealand.
Here's a full
Though
map.
one is this what was the second one in this series? Squirrel, just remind me.
That was Argentina.
He just said it. Argentina.
Argentina. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Argentina had, like I said, like an assembly line thing where when you delivered to the board, and then if there was a ticket, a token there already, it would be pushed to one of the three main, like water tile things, onto the top of the board, and then if it happened again, it would push the one from the board onto that tile, and then move that one onto the actual map. It was some kind of a weird thing that had going on. This one doesn't do that. This one you control where your ship goes. So you're trekking along the water on the top. It's kind of like the Rails to the North kind of thing that Great Western Trail original had, where you're moving a boat around and you're delivering to the different things there. So one of the aspects that you need to do is you need to get like a crew, a ship crew or captain. That's one of the people that you can start filling in your board. And depending on how many there is, that's how many movement you get with that ship. So you're going out with your ship and you're dictating where you're delivering to when you do deliveries, which is much different than having to have a giant number. This is like a mix with both of those. Anyway, this is by far my favorite Great Western Trail now. It was so good to the point where I sold my original.
Yeah, and you love the original.
I did love the original.
That's like a top 5 for you.
I still do, but it's one of those things where if I want to play the original, I'll do it on Board Game Arena now, and I'd rather play this one, which is up there, whenever anybody wants to play Great Western Trail. Spoiler alert, this is in my top 3 of 2023, period.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And are you dropped, by the way, I should ask, with you and the podcast,
Yep.
Are you dropping 20? Have you already dropped your top of 23? Or are you dropping them soon? What's the schedule for you?
We are recording our top of 2023 on the 8th. The 9th, which is Tuesday. That's when we're recording it. So like 6 days from now. And that episode is going to release the Thursday in the following week. So that would be the 18th, I think, is when we're doing that. I am trying to get the rest of those games played of 2023 that I have yet to play. Thank you very much, Barrows, for letting me borrow. I borrowed 3 games from him that were released in 2023, and I played them all in, I want to say, about like 7 hours. And then I returned it to him.
He returned them to me the next day, so he played them quickly.
But I have, I think, like 6 or 7 more. But it's okay if I don't get to them. One big one I want to eventually get to is I think I'm playing this Saturday. So. But that's one of the games that I enjoyed my first play of in 2023. And there's a second one. And actually, I played this one at the beginning of December for the first time, even though it's a 2022 release. In fact, I think it was December 3rd.
At PAX?
That was PAX.
With us?
Yeah, well.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
yeah. Go ahead.
Is it on Kickstarter right now?
Yeah, it's the one that's on second Kickstarter, which I already backed, just because of playing it for the first time at PAX with Espen. I've played it probably 4 times since then. I don't own it. There's a place where you can play it if you haven't played it yet. But yeah, it's Votes for Women. I kind of feel bad because when I looked at the game originally, I was like, this doesn't seem like my kind of game. It seems kind of like a war game ish, and like a cube pusher or something kind of like that, war game. And it just didn't seem like my cup of tea originally. And you guys were boasting it back and forth throughout the entire year. And I eventually had some desire to play it. I didn't expect to be able to play it with you guys at PAX. But yeah, I think there was a point in time where during the Tabletop Express Con, which also with Cardboard Time and all that, there was a point in time I was just chatting with Espen for a good 5-10 minutes, and then he was like, "You want to play something?" I was like, "Sure." And yeah, we just decided to play Votes for Women, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad we did. Women can vote, yay, go us.
Yeah, we won. Yeah.
Yes, we did. Yeah, I've just enjoyed it since then. I have played the opposition twice.
Yes,
I
you
still have yet to win as the opposition, which in my mind, I'm like, yay, that's fine. I don't mind not winning. But at the same time, it's a very different experience than co-oping it.
Yeah.
I will say. Because of the fact that you are actually vying for those state cards, I think they're called, against each other. And in the co-op mode, when it comes to getting strategy cards at the end of a round, you just have to roll or submit buttons, and you have to roll. What is it? You have to roll something higher.
You have to have if you can guarantee a strategy card if you have at least 4 buttons.
Yeah.
And the suffragist movement, I feel like, has a good amount of getting buttons, like a good.
Yeah.
There's some good synergy there.
Yeah.
But for sure, those state cards and strategy cards are so important because they allow you to play additional turns, essentially.
Pretty much.
And that's huge in this game.
It definitely is huge, and it seems much easier to do so when you are playing in co-op. However, when you're playing against somebody as the opposition, or as the suffragist against the opposition, whichever one you are, you're actually going against a live person who's also going for the same cards. Like Applebaum doesn't care. He's just they are.
Well, it does care, but
it does care, but like it's not like they're focusing on it.
Yeah. Yeah, based on card draw, it doesn't necessarily always pan out.
Yeah, so like I would love to continue playing this, which is why I already backed it. Or I'm going to back it because I don't think did it start yet. The actual campaign start. I think it's in.
It's still in the middle of it, and I believe there's going to be late pledges anyway if you haven't backed it at this time.
That's fair.
You could pre-order it directly from Fourth Circle Games. That's where because I found out about this game last year when it was on Board Game Geek's front page during Women's History Month, and I was like, "Yeah, I need to pre-order this. Barros, we need to play this."
And actually, then it was supposed to be ordered from my local library where I'm a trustee, and I actually have to follow up because I don't know if it ever arrived, and if it didn't, I have to put in a pledge to make sure they get a copy. So I will definitely encourage people to check this one out. It is a phenomenal game, and it is. I think there's in the comments, and there's a few. I promise, by the way, we'll catch up. We'll catch up after this with your stuff in the comments because there's some good stuff in here. But there's a description in here from Discover the Meeple of such a clean design, and I think that was my first impression of it. It really is just the gameplay is simple to learn in theory, but there's a deep strategy to it when you're trying to figure out what you need to get done to win, and it's a great experience. So
I mean, it definitely builds a lot on some of the existing war games that have come out from GMT, especially like the card-driven games. Like I'm thinking Twilight Struggle, 1960 Making of a President, and it really just boils it down to a very straightforward rule set. A very, very straightforward rule set. What's different about this, though, is obviously how compelling the theme is, and what stakes are at hand for this. And what I love the most about this game is it really feels like a love letter to that period because inside, not only is there this game, there's all these different replica documents of the time period of different things that happened at the time, different pamphlets that were handed out, different examples of different kinds of like telegrams that are sent out and letters and all sorts of things, both for both sides, both propaganda side and whatnot. And it really like opens your eyes to how this movement started and how it ties not only to like misogyny but also racism, and it really like I don't really think about it, but playing it I was taken aback when one of the cards played against against the women's suffragist movement was a card with a prominent woman on the opposition side, and I was like, oh, okay, given today's political climate, of course there'd be someone, of course there'd be women against against this, and men in favor of, because it's just one of those things that, of course, it's going to be that way.
Exactly.
You know.
Well, those are my two that I'd talk about. I'm hoping someone comes on here and talks about a couple other games that I had in mind. I won't necessarily say them, but I will throw them in there if it gets to the end of this whole thing. Was neither of my two games since neither of you played Great Western Trail in New Zealand, was Votes for Women on one of your top fives?
It would have been honorable mention. It would be my top 10, not top 5.
No,
I played it in 2022. I played it December 2022.
Technically, you might have actually introduced it to me in 2022 because I think it was just prior to. So technically,
it was last year from PAX, right after PAX. It was like soon
so
arrived.
it's not even eligible.
And
on
I
my
just
list.
and I just rushed to. I was like, I gotta set everything from PAX aside. I gotta solo this immediately.
Gotcha.
Before you go, Squirrel,
Yep.
let everybody know where, guys, as you are recording soon for this latest episode with your top games, where everybody can find the podcast.
Sure. Level Up Board Game Podcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you listen to any podcast. I think we're pretty much everywhere, as far as I know. We just recently finished our episode for The White Castle. That's going to be our review game. That's coming up. That'll be released on Thursday of next week. And then after that, you're going to hear our top games of 2023, and that's what we're doing right now. We're doing pretty well.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. Great to see you, Squirrel, and I'm sure we'll see you plenty in 2024. So
I hope so. It's always great to see you guys.
Yeah. All right. Have a great night, Squirrel.
Let me do this
See you in the chat.
Later.
Before we bring on our next guest, I just wanted to make sure we did go take a look at those comments. Looks like Alan from the Montclair Gamers is in the house. Great to see that.
Yeah, what's up, Alan?
Hey, Alan.
I think the meetup starts again next Thursday, I believe, the 11th.
Something like that, right? They're soon.
Or is that? Yeah. Next Thursday.
Tyler, by the way, adding that Great Western Trail is on a game he wants to play this year. So it sounds like there was some arranging of getting that game in.
Yes. Yes. We have the chat has already made plans.
Yeah.
There you go.
For a Great Western Trail play.
Which by the way, if you're on our Discord, another great way you can arrange to play some games. There we go. See, look, it's all happening right there. And then I do think it's interesting as we were talking about the geographics of it. Bez talking about if games can be designed to be accurate, it does make sense. And I agree with that, because that Ticket to Ride accuracy, there is a teaching moment in Ticket to Ride when you think about, oh yes, this is located generally right here, and this is right here. So I do like that quite a bit.
Yep.
But
for sure.
But with that, by the way, you can call in, call-board.com, just like Tyler, who is hanging out right now. And we're going to bring Tyler in and bring him on. Here we go. Welcome, Tyler.
Yes.
Howdy. How are you doing?
Good.
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Doing good. It's only right that I came in after Squirrel, after him destroying me and Mark Hybo on BGA for like the last 2 to 3 weeks. So
he's very good at destroying people.
Yeah, he is good at that.
So
especially don't play him. What note you don't play him in? Lost Ruins of Arnik.
Yeah, I'm hit or miss with that game, so I won't even touch that.
There you go.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I think I have a vivid memory of just taking him on it and be like, wow, I lost like 4 turns in because he clearly knows this game well. But how are you, Tyler? How's everything going?
I'm good. I'm excited because I set up my 10x10 challenge for this year, and I was like 50 plays short of in-person plays of 365 on the year. So that's like my big goal this upcoming year is
nice.
Hit like a play a day. So a lot of that's gonna be solo, but that's
okay.
That's where I get a lot of my gaming in as it is. But excited and played some. I was going through my BG stats list of games I played. And I'm like, what games did I play that aren't new? Because I felt like I was so cult of the new last year that it was tough to kind of get out of that groove. So But I have 3 that I'll go through pretty quick here. But
Sure.
have Imperium Classics and Legends, those 2 boxes combined.
So good.
I really enjoy that game. I kind of fell off with it after the first half of the year because of new stuff that came in, but the campaign that you can do with it, where you pick out a civilization and then you have to beat, I think is it 8?
I actually
8
never
other?
played the campaign. I've just always done like the one-off solo games of them. I didn't know
Yeah,
there was a campaign.
so I think with the campaign you have to win 8 times or
Okay.
7 times or something like that, and it's really fun because you really get to know the civilization, and then you get to have to maybe mix up your strategy every so often as you face off against a new one. So
Yeah.
and the 2 boxes combine too, so like you can play one from the Legends box if you're playing from the Classics box. So it's pretty fun. I enjoy it. There's a steep learning curve with it because the rule book kind of stinks, but
Yeah, it did.
once you get it down, those boxes are so much fun. And there's another 16 civilizations coming out with
Yeah,
Imperium
it's
Horizons
Imperium
this year.
Horizons, I think.
Yeah, I think it's Horizons. So
Yeah. This one I'm actually really excited to show Barros because when we did Empires of the North, I felt like this rings a similar bell.
Mhm.
They play very differently,
Yeah.
but they ring similar bells where you're kind of having like asymmetric civilization factions go up against each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to show you for sure. And yeah, the solo mode is there's the solo mode already set up.
Yeah.
There's a good chance this is on this list next year. I feel like because this is one I get a sense I'm really going to enjoy, but we still have I feel like we've said I need to play this for 2 years, so we should probably fix that this year.
It was
Just
on
saying.
Danielle's top 20 too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, then I really need to play it soon.
Yeah.
Well, that's one. I know you said you have 3.
Yeah. So
love to hear what else.
the second one is Mechs vs. Minions. I am a
Okay.
huge League of Legends person. Back when League kind of started up, I would have buddies over in my parents' basement, and we would just literally camp out and play League, or like even like summer break in college, have people come over after done working and we play League. So once I heard of this game, I knew I had to play it with my group, and I was the nerd within the group. I'm like, oh yeah, Rumble does this, and this. Like, like Corky does this, and that. Like, I know the characters from playing so much of the game. So being able to like see it on a table was so much fun.
I never played this one. Is it still in print though?
That's a good question. Someone in my game group has it, and we were able to play a couple series of the scenarios. I think there's like 7 different scenarios, and you're kind of just working through and building out your kind of tableau in a way, I guess, there, because you have a series of different actions from like 1 to 6. You put a card down, and then you do the actions in that order. But sometimes you want your 6 to be done at 4, but you already placed it at the 6, so you can't adjust it anymore. You can just remove it and kind of start fresh. I think it's been some time since I played it, but it's an interesting one.
This game visually just grabs my attention. That's the one thing I haven't never played this one, but it's visually just got that table presence immediately. When you like, if I saw someone playing this at PAX Unplugged, it seems like one of those games I would have stopped and been like, just kind of wanting to look over and watch how that plays.
And they're pre-painted too, I think, right?
Like yeah, those are pre-painted. So the minis are actually super, super nice with it. So but my last one, and I'll kind of leave it at this, is Seas of Strife. It's a trick-taking game that there's 2 different ways apparently that you can play it. There's one that's the original way, and then there's one that's like a German way or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's neat because there's so many different cards within it that like it's 1 to 80 maybe, I think it is.
Okay.
But there's some gaps in there, and the goal in the versions that I've played it is you're trying to not win tricks. The person to win 15 tricks first is the loser. So you want to do the exact opposite of like what a typical trick taker is and win them. You want to stick it to someone else in a way, and it's really fun. And the imagery on the cards is super neat of this version, and it's just one of those trick takers that I will always play when it is said, hey, do you want to play this or this? I'll play Seas of Strife.
Nice. I'm trying to get a good picture because I see there's a Texas Showdown version too.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure on
That doesn't sound like the German version.
no, that doesn't. So not exactly sure. Let me see. No, it's something similar to that, but that's like the Texas Showdown.
Huh.
I like the art. I'm seeing, and I mean, you look at some of those names there, that definitely grabs some attention. Beth Sobel.
Yeah.
I mean,
Clemens Franz. Yeah.
Yeah, that's some good stuff right there. I do love the new stuff.
I'm a sucker for the quirky kind of trick takers. And that sounds like it.
Yeah, if you click that fourth picture from the left.
This one right here?
That's kind of what the art looks like. And it's really good. It's super neat.
Oh, that's cool.
I think it's really accessible friendly too, if we're thinking of like Brian Chandler and how he kind of works with accessibility in that. Like the icons on there make it very easy to understand what each card is. So
yeah. And is this like frequency or something? These triangles?
Yeah, so that's how many cards there are. And if it's the very top card with the highest number, you're probably going to win it, which stinks. But you then get to choose who the first person is in the trick. The next go. So you can stick yourself last to make sure you're not going to win it. Or you can go a little later to try to stick it to someone else and push your luck a little bit.
Awesome.
Man,
no, thank you. It's always great. I agree with the when it's a new one or one that I haven't heard of. I think that's one of the cool things about this is it's just doing call aboard for me. Is I discover new games constantly from all you. So this is put it on the list to try out.
Yeah. Nice. Well, thanks for having me on again, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And we'll see you on the Discord. And then
we'll see you on the Discord. We'll see you on BGA.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Later.
Hey, Tyler.
And we're gonna keep this train going. We got Bez in the house. I'm gonna bring Bez up here to chat with us as well. Let's keep this train. I love this.
This train is nonstop.
This train is nonstop. Hey, Bez.
Hey, Bez. Happy New Year, everyone. How are you?
Good morning.
Happy New Year. Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. That's right.
Yeah, New Year, new resolutions, new stuff going on. I'm not, in a established house. For those who are unaware, I recently moved to Bangkok, which is why it's basically Airbnb that I'm staying at.
Right.
But I wanted to, hopefully this is okay, mention a game that's not on Board Game Geek. It's by a Thai publisher, and I want to talk about it more because of what it represents than because it's necessarily the most awesome to me game that I played. How does that sound?
Sure. Oh, sounds great. Yeah.
Sounds good. Let it rip.
Okay, so this game, it's not a Euro game at all. It's called Stack Me. Have you played Ligretto or maybe Ratuki? Or Dutch
No, I haven't played.
So these are simple games. Like you've got a bunch of cards, you lay them out, you start stacking them on each other, and it's a speed game. Now the production's fairly decent, as you can see. There's a bit of foam just so that if you put them in sleeves, it can still stay in, which is a nice wee thing. You've got different numbers of cards, and for simple party game, I think it goes up to 6 players. There's different colors. Here's the red ones. Here's the red ones. Let's look at some red ones for obvious reasons. And you've got letters. And what you do is you start off each stack with the ABC. And then on top of that, you put the D, E, F. And then you carry on through the alphabet. So it's got these nice little letters. And if you are familiar with the English language, it will make no it'll make perfect sense to you. I was about to say no sense. It'll make the opposite of no sense. And it's super simple, just a speed game, going through your own hand, trying to find the right cards to put down, taking them one at a time, going through. And it's a fun game, don't get me wrong. It's a fun time that you can play with people. And the reason that I bring this up is purely because I met the designer. I stayed at their board game cafe, Board Game Academy, so shouts out to them. And then I learned that this designer, who's got absolutely no footprints on the rest of the world, has designed 30 games, which is super cool. And they've done like social, it was Stack Me. So, sorry, there we go. And I'll leave it kind of here because you don't have a board game geek page for this, sadly. And
That's okay.
It's like this, they've done so many social deduction games. The games that they do is mainly just to have people in their board game cafe. Okay, what do people want? What doesn't already exist? We need more social deduction games for 20 people because there's not enough of them. And they think about like what fits the niche of that particular audience. And I think they're coming to Essen next year, which will be exciting. So I might see them again because I'll be in Europe at that point. And they gave me a copy to take away. And the point is that I just wanted to kind of, for a brief couple of minutes, remind people that, sure, it's awesome to go chasing after the hotness, whatever that is, whether it's Wormspan or whatever you just heard about, and be like, I need to play this new game. But for me, I think sometimes like the games that you have are cool because they're the games that you have. Do you know what I mean? Because it's good to remember, like, whatever games you have, it's all about, every game is able to facilitate joy and human connections. And I just think that's ultimately what it's all about. So whilst this might sound like a cop-out, and I deliberately didn't choose any of my own prototypes or games because that would be too self-serving, I wanted to remind people that, just whatever game you have with you is something that you can probably get joy out of. So I want to encourage everyone to check out that pile of opportunity you have.
And nice. I think that's a wonderful message for especially the start of a year, because yes, like we were just talking about the fact that we've got a bunch of 2023 games to play. And yes, we're building lists, but not to forget about the rest of those games that are out there. And just because, to your point, everyone knows about, the latest Stonemaier game, it feels like, obviously today, but don't forget those smaller games. There is a lot of joy in those. I always talk about it. These guys probably get sick of it, but just like with my family, a game I might not think as highly of, man, watching my kids crack up over a silly card or something like that. I mean, it's all worth it. All worth it.
100%, because I think that time spent with good people over a mediocre game is always, and I'm not saying that this is a mediocre game, by the way. This is this is a solid, for me, if I would give it a solid like 7 out of 10, let's say. But I think it's a quality game. It's well made. There's
Well, no,
I think that it's about the people. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I was gonna say thank you, one, for calling in first, especially anytime we get first time caller, I celebrate that, certainly, and ultimately thank you too for sharing something different, because I think not everything is it's a good lesson too, by the way, that not everything is on BGG. I mean, there's all these ideas out there. It's like that's why you check out the prototype room at PAX Unplugged, which I say every year and end up spending not enough time in, but still at all these events. And you, by the way, I know you've since we have you here, I want to make sure we take that time. I know you're active in particular. You are sharing, I think, some, I don't know if all your stuff is on there, but don't you have some of your things on Board Game Arena, or at least you've shared your ideas or prototypes for Board Game Arena? I feel like I've seen.
Do you mean Board Game Geek rather than Board Game Arena?
Oh, Board Game
or-
Geek. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm saying Board Game Arena. Games
Like,
on
I
mine,
do
yeah.
actually have one game on Board Game Arena. So if people want to try a cooperative words game, it's called Coupell, Coupell. It's deliberately misspelled because I have the L deck, which is ELL. But yeah, I've got lots of games on Board Game Geek because for me, I'm able to do it. But I noticed that a lot of French publishers and Korean people and Thai people just completely ignore Board Game Geek. So we think that it's this great repository, and it is. It's probably the best database in the world of board games. But at the same time, we need to remember that it's not all-encompassing. But yeah, in the last year, I think I've done, it's hard to count, about 7
I got
new
Coupell up
games.
here. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And yeah, if someone wants to give it a go, you can even invite me to a game if you're a bit hesitant about learning. I'm happy to talk you through it. And my username there is Stuff by Bez, but with the spaces. Yeah, I've got a Kickstarter Drawn Together game, which is a totally new type of game. I'm hoping to finish a Board Game Geek designer diary for it today. It's, I think, the first ever strategic cutthroat competitive game about colouring in. You wouldn't think it's strategic or cutthroat, but it totally is. And I'm also starting to work, I'm best known for Yogi, which is a party game, but I'm starting to work on slightly bigger games. Like last night, I was testing a strategic auction. Well, it's a once-around auction, so it actually works with 2 players. And yeah, tile laying. I'm not quite in the stage of having the one-sentence pitch for it, but basically watch this space and there will be stuff coming out.
Well, awesome.
Nice.
And thank you so much. It's great to hear from you. Great to have you on here, and love sharing your stuff. So we'll definitely, everyone got a chance to go check that out, by the way, on Board Game Arena if you want to try one of Bez's games there. And Bez, thanks so much. Loved having you. And of course, always welcome. We love having, obviously, first time callers, but it's even better when they return. So
thank you so much. And thank you for making this space available for everyone. It is a lovely idea for a format to just say, hey, here's the link. And then you redirect it directly to the thing. That's so smart. And, kudos on what's the word I'm looking for? Organization and, just the small things make a massive difference.
That
we
means a lot.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you, Bez.
Have a great, I was going to say night, but have a great day.
Have a great morning. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks for having your breakfast with us.
Yeah.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what
Well-
that vibes that gives me? That's like an Anthony Bourdain, no reservations type of vibe with the board games, right? Like going off the beaten path besides what's just right in front of your face and going to these like undiscovered, resources that are abundant with this cool stuff and these other talented people that maybe aren't on Board Game Geek. That's very cool. I'm so glad you
And I
shared
just
that.
want to point out, by the way, because this is actually pretty important. When I first wanted to do a channel, this goes back a few years now. One of the first people I actually got to meet in the industry period actually was Bess. And I woke up even really early one day to tune in to her show live, and I just remember that. So to have Bez pop on here, it really does mean a lot because again, one of the first people I met when I just wanted to do an interview show and maybe make a channel out of it, which is really how this all started. And here we are taking calls from people. So, you talk about a journey, right? But so far on this journey tonight, by the way, we've only revealed one game. So I will invite people to maybe take some guesses, or if you want, call in, call-board.com. In the meantime, we should probably jump over to Ryan's number 5 and see what his number 5 for favorite first plays of 2023 is.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, 2023 was a fantastic year for solo gaming, I feel like. Um, and one of the solo games I tried out for the first time in 2023 was a small $10 clearance discount on Amazon.
Hmm.
Um, and it was tied to an IP that I never seen this movie in the franchise, but that was Terminator: Dark Fate, the card game. This is designed by Jack Caesar, published in 2020 from River Horse Limited. I don't believe it's not in print anymore, but what you get is this tiny box. I don't. Yeah, I'm just gonna grab it. Hang on.
Well, you grab it.
Look how
Let me
tiny
just
this is.
say, will you hold this up? Let me just say, this game in that small box
Yeah.
packs a ton.
Oh,
a
it's
ton.
packed to the brim, and it's got this
Yeah.
metal clap on it, and look at that. It's just packed to the brim of just cards, right? There's all these cards and different tokens in here, and what you get is a deck building game that doesn't feel like other deck builders and actually feels like a Terminator movie because it's a cooperative deck building game where you're going to try to collect different cards into your arsenal of different weapons and different ways to take out the bad guy, all while the Terminator is in that deck, that market deck of cards. So if you look in this picture, the giant stack of cards that's making up that market deck, the Terminator is going to be like in the first 5 cards of that deck, and will eventually come out and start attacking you and giving you wound cards, which are just like, buffed out cards in your discard pile in your hand. But the way to win is to kill kill the machine, which is either deal enough damage to it, to stagger it enough, and then take it out with like a finishing move, which usually has to do with like going into like
It's
a steel
hard.
mill.
It can be really hard, this game, by the way.
Oh, it's
because
super hard. Yeah.
even on the easiest level, but there's like 4 or 5 different, and you can shuffle, and you don't even, the way that I was playing
That's the way I like to play it.
like,
Yeah,
you
because
don't know which Terminator you're getting.
yeah, there's 4 different difficulties, and I like to just take, and that depends on which boss you want to fight, which version of the Terminator you want to fight. So I like to shuffle them up and just add it in there, so I don't know what difficulty I'm playing until the Terminator's revealed. I'm like, oh crap, of course it's a really hard one, Um, and all the different player powers work out really nicely. What I like about this game too, in particular, with the deck building, is it's a cooperative deck builder where you can actually purchase cards for the other players at the table. And I like that aspect a lot. Xenoshift is another deck builder that does this concept as well. But I feel like this one does it even better because of how small, compact, and quick this is as compared to Xenoshift. The other thing about this game too is the deck is like, think like Arc Nova deck, like really thick, like crazy amount of cards, okay? Because what's going to go on is when the Terminator decides to attack, it will attack using any attack cards it has in the general market, and if it doesn't have any more there, it's going to take out cards from the top of the deck, and if they're attack cards, they'll deal damage, but if they're not attack cards, those cards just get destroyed, and all the attack cards end up going to the bottom of the deck, so you're dealing with this giant deck that gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it's just like a lot of bad stuff towards that bottom. And man, it translates so well. Like, this one is such a refreshing take on deck building, and because the thing about this game and about like a lot of IP games is they don't need to be like amazing because you're not expecting them to be amazing, right? And this one delivered so well in the theme that it's just like a solid, like, I'm gonna play this 2-hand solo and just go for it. So how long is the game? It could be 30 to 60 minutes. Depends on what difficulty you're on, and also too, like, even like the easiest difficulty, you deal a lot of damage to this Terminator, but if certain cards don't come out, it just takes a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't overstay its welcome, though, I feel like, in my plays of this game, and it's definitely a game that if I ever saw it at a reasonable price, it's I would tell people don't hesitate to grab it and try it out because it's.
Yeah.
So Ryan, did you just get this on a whim?
Yeah, well, so I saw it on a solo Facebook group, and they
Okay.
were talking about like, hey, it's $10 and it's actually pretty good. So I'm
Nice.
like, okay, I got $10, I'll try it out. And another thing that's cool about this is that when you're fighting the Terminator, before you decide to fight, you could choose to flee from the Terminator, and if you do, all the damage you dealt to that Terminator is gone. But all that damage indicates the number of cards you take from the top of the deck, and you shuffle it in. So if you dealt 12 points of damage, you take the top 12 cards from the deck, you shuffle it in, you put it back on top. Because now you're building up your arsenal, getting ready for the Terminator to come back, which I've never seen Terminator Dark Fate, but it's exactly what happens in Terminator 2 Judgment Day, right? They just they run away from him, they start to get strong. Here he is. Up, they run away from him, start to get strong. There he is, And man, it works so well.
I think this might need to be a Discord, like just random play sometime, just to show people, because it really is just it's a great game. It really is.
Yeah, it's super solid. And like this box size is so small, it's easy to just fit it into your collection, So like if you see this for like maybe no more than $20, pick it up for sure. Like if this sounds like a kind of solo game that you want to try it out for that price, because it's for sure worth it in my opinion. So that's Terminator, Dark Fate, the card
guys.
game.
We got an eclectic camel.
Yeah, there was a squirrel, and now there's a camel.
Yeah,
I think they both would actually enjoy this. To be fair.
Yeah.
And that's Terminator, Dark Fate, the card game. I'm gonna put it right back.
Look, guys, but
Very
I have
nice.
to ask a favor before I do my number 5. Can I share one that I realize that is not in the top 5, but is like 5.01? It's
Absolutely
like right there.
not. Absolutely not.
Making up rules.
No.
Go ahead.
Ryan's gonna want me to share it, so I'm gonna share it, and that is the Field of the Cloth of Gold.
I don't want you to share that
Why?
because you're stealing my thunder. Because it's my number 4.
I didn't see your list. I didn't know that. Oh my god, this so good.
Tell me about it,
So,
because I'm going to tell you right about it right after.
first, let me tell you, this is, just so everybody knows, the 503rd anniversary edition. It's designed by Amabel Holland. What a wonderful! I'm cheating. This is clear cheating.
So you're getting called out left and right, dude.
Yeah.
I admit I'm cheating. Trust me, I can
This ties into actually how this game works too. So go ahead.
No, but this is a game of passive aggressive gift giving.
Yeah.
Passive aggressive gift giving. You are going to place your pieces in this game to take these actions, but in doing so, you're giving the other player a gift. And the other thing that I think and all those actions are ways to score points and do a variety of things. There's even a dragon, which is that yellow token that goes and blocks the space. But here's the thing.
It's Fearsome Dragon, by the way. You have to get that.
Fearsome.
It's written as the Fearsome Dragon.
But let me just say that what I love about this is as you go down the board, the value of what you're getting from your pieces is going down. So the more points you have, you don't necessarily want to be way ahead. You want to be, there's like a balanced approach you have to this game about just how good you want to be doing at any given moment, because it may not actually stay that way. And I don't know, there's something about this game. When I was introduced to this game, you brought it over, Ryan, and it was over lunch, and we played 2 games.
Yeah, I said you need to play this because you are going to love this game.
And then now here it is.
Now you own it.
It's and I have a certain love for anything by Amabel at this point because I have such a deep respect for what is happening with those games. But they're so unique and original. But this one, my goodness, I love this one.
All right, so let me take it away. The Field of the Cloth of Gold has a rule book that starts with Hark. Okay, because by the way, this is the 503rd anniversary edition, and it's written in Old English. Oldie English. It's so cool. This is a game where I think on the back of the box it says, It feels like a Reiner Knizia knife fight in a phone booth. And
That's somebody's quote.
yeah, that was somebody's quote. I forget. Look at your back of your box. You read the exact quote,
am.
Barros.
I am.
It's on. I think it's on the back of the box.
So imagine if 90s leather jacket Knizia put
Yeah,
two
there you go.
knives in a box and said, "You're only allowed to use these on yourself.
Yes.
Now win."
Yeah, even better. Yeah, even better, right? So because you're correct, it's a worker placement game where the spots are limited, and anytime you go to a spot, you're giving your opponent points. And the further down the track you are, obviously the more points you're going to have, but the gold tokens are worth less points per row that they're in. Not only that, there's these jewel tokens added in this particular version of the game because the second edition of this came out last year, and the jewel tokens are bonus score multipliers where for every they score squared, right? So for every if you have 1, it's 1 point. If you have 2, they're both worth 2 points, so it's 4, right? 3 is 9, etc. And you're going to be playing until there's no more tiles in this bag. And man, what I'm going to try to figure out how to screw my neighbor in this 2-player endeavor kind of game this is. It's so great. What you were mentioned before with Holland Spiel Games. So Amabel Holland is the it's Amabel and Mary Holland. They're both behind Holland Spiel, and they basically put out the games that they want to put out. And the Field of the Cloth of Gold is amazing. Like if you like 2-player, very tight, very much attack your other opponent kind of thing, the Field of the Cloth of Gold is really where it's at. You can play it online on rallythetroops.com, which is the same place you could play Votes for Women as well. You should for sure try this game. And if you're in the Discord, I'm more than happy to set up a game with you. I played a couple games of it with Barros online. I played with Rel online. And I'm more than happy to play with any of you.
Yeah.
That's the Field of the
I would
Cloth of
second
Gold.
that. I'm happy to play too. This one is delightful.
Yeah.
But it's ironic that in stating this, there was a comment from Squirrel because
Mhm.
I am borrowing a copy of a 2023 release from him of Unmatched, the co-op version. And he said, "When I'd love to play this when I pick up Unmatched from you," which is a good thing to say because my number 5 is actually something that is not going to be surprising to anyone in Discord, but it's actually the Unmatched series as a whole, in particular the Marvel series, but the Unmatched system that I have come to fall in love with. I really dig this, and everyone here knows I love a good 2-player game. It's not a shock. There's the long running joke was I'm not going to get an Unmatched game. I'm not diving into this. I'm having a real hard time just buying Marvel ones at this point. And so I really dig this system. I have all the Marvel ones at this point. The system of the very different characters. I'm not going to claim it's a balanced system first and foremost, and I'm okay with that. That's what's really interesting to me is that there are certain matchups that are just bad matchups, and I'm quite okay with that one. For just because I think certain characters probably would beat another character, but that fantasy world of putting these people against each other, I mean, it's neat. And they have so many different characters in this game now. My largest problem with Unmatched, guys, is that I'll be honest, is that some of these this is actually on the list. This is my number 5.
Yeah, right. Agreed.
Oh man. But still, no, I mean, and look, if you have to ask me to pick one, look, there's one that has Winter Soldier in it right now. So, for out of the Marvel ones, that's my favorite one. Even though I've never actually won with Winter Soldier to this point, but I'm not apparently very good with him yet. Yes, and thank you, Bez. Have a great morning. I gotta keep remembering to say morning. But yeah, the Unmatched system. For me, it's a winner for me. So here we are.
All right. Well, you're gonna get some more smack talking here. I love it. I'm on board for this.
Yeah.
That's okay. I accept that. But the big thing
Spot
for me, I
on.
will tell you, is I genuinely, if I have to pick one that I actually had to pick was my favorite, because it was really the Marvel series for me.
Well, you have to pick the first one that you played. That's how this list works.
Yeah,
The
right,
first
exactly.
one.
That's true. You
But
should
that's
pick
why
the
it's the Winter
first one.
Soldier. But that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
It's
well, then
the
that's
Winter
your pick.
Soldier one, because that's the first one I opened up. So yeah, but that first play experience of that game was, oh my goodness. So that's why it is. So in all fairness, I didn't cheat there. I said Winter Soldier for a reason.
Wow.
The Unmatched.
Wow. Our
So there you
gracious
go.
host.
You know what? No one said honorable mentions weren't allowed, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
No, no, you're right. You're right. You're right. You were very good at, But I
talked
do
about
want to let
honorable
people
mentions
know
before.
that if you too want to break the rules, you can just go to call-aboard.com and you could call in and join us, and we'll talk about what your
Anything you
favorite
want.
first play. No, well, you know what? If you want to show Chris how to properly play
You know,
and call in with your true first favorite play of 2023, you
I
can.
said the Winter Soldier. The system, and it led for me with the Winter Soldier. I haven't won with them, but I love them.
Yeah.
And I will note, just for anybody who knows, that one of the reasons I love the Winter Soldier in this particular system is, depending on what's going on, there's an additional action that takes place, and I think it's really cool, because based on the scenario, you don't want you want to get to this particular, but that action is not necessarily there at the beginning of the game, and I think it's a pretty neat little thing, because it's only when the Winter Soldier is unfortunately, mission report, that's when it kicks in. To me, that's awesome. And yeah,
Cobble and
Cobble and
Fog.
Fog, by the way, I'm still seeing some copies in the wild, and I'm very tempted to pick it up.
Is that's not
Because
the
I've heard
first one,
amazing
is it?
things.
No, that's the second.
Second
Well,
one.
Yeah.
well, like the second regular box one, like the
Yeah,
4
yeah.
box,
There's-
because the first one was like Battle of Legends Volume 1,
There's still
and then
copies.
Cobble and Fog.
There's still copies sitting at our local Barnes and Noble, and I'm very tempted to just
Yeah.
go.
I
pick
still
it
want to
up.
play the Buffy one, even though I don't like Unmatched. But I would want to play the Buffy one, even though I know allegedly they're like really low tier kind
They're
of.
really low tier, apparently. Like, they're
Come
pretty
on.
weak. I guess there's one good. You would think Buffy would be strong.
You'd go against Buffy versus Dracula,
But
you know?
you know what though? The Buffy one has 2 board. It's like a double-sided board, which I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So that's cool.
bronze,
People,
probably.
I don't know if I think Sunnydale's, the school is one of them. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All right. Anthony, you want to do your number 4?
I'm going to do my number 4. My number 4 is a kids game. And there's no arguing that it's a kids game, because it has the word kids in the title for the most part.
I think so.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty sure.
And that's pretty clever, kids. Although it's more like, that's pretty clever, kids. This is a kids roll and write game. And man, I borrowed this first from you, Ryan. I was so glad that I did, because the first play of this with my son was phenomenal. He picked it up so well, and I was so excited to, obviously, just play a game with him, because I love to play games with him. And he's getting into them more, and he got a bunch for Christmas, and he's asking to play more games. And to be able to share with him a game like this, that's from one of my favorite genres in the roll and write, realm category, was awesome. And, it's a kid's game, but it's not like you play this and you're not like, oh my God, is it over yet? I do the same thing every turn. I just, roll and move, or hit this twist to, spin this thing, whatever. It's a legitimate roll and write game. Okay. Yeah. It's super simple, but it is what it is. And it really captures the essence of getting those combos, drafting dice from the ones that are rolled, and just trying to optimize your moves. And for me to watch my 4.5-year-old, talk out optimal moves on which dice to take, because this will get me this and this will get me this, was just like, that was just proud dad moment to the extreme. Yeah. The theme is very basic, as well. Most roll and writes theme is pretty basic, but basically you're like throwing a birthday party in this game, and you're going to roll 5 dice, choose one type of color to pick them and do that on your score sheet. There are balloons, there's candles, there's presents, and there's dessert. And basically, you're just going to be drafting the dice and crossing or circling those things off in different areas. There's slight restraints to each one, which I like too, right? It's not just rinse and repeat. The balloons do have to go in order from left to right. The candles have to as well, but some of the candles have 2 candles in the space, or the last one has even 3. The presents you can do in any order you want, but there's bonuses for completing rows and columns of them. And the desserts are, very reward giving, but they're hard to get because you have to have 2 matching ones to actually circle that next spot, cross off that next spot.
Yeah.
So from mechanical point of view, it's a pretty nice little game, even if it wasn't just designed for kids. But the fact that it was really just stood out big time. And obviously, if you haven't told by now, I picked it up. He got it for Christmas because we just liked it so much. So that's pretty clever, kids, in the Gong Chong Clever universe. Rolling right. Excellent.
And our kids played this, Ryan. So
yeah, we played it at RockCon.
I enjoyed this a lot. I'll say it also, I think, just had a great theme. Like, I think just having this game in there as a party theme game. I mean, it's simple. It's not boring at all. I didn't find myself, as simple as it was, waiting for it to be over. And I think that's, unfortunately, sometimes when you say kids game, I think some people might think that, but I think we're getting to a spot where kids game does not mean that. There's so many great kids games. This one, though,
oh yeah,
such a great implementation of a wonderful system that already is out there, and now just making it a little more approachable for a younger age.
And this is a great jumping off point, right? This is, once a kid gets this, I mean, the possibilities are endless with the roll and write genre, at least. So I appreciate any game that can kind of boil down those mechanics and make it approachable, but again, not make it a total drag for the adults that are going to be playing along with it.
Yeah, and it doesn't overstay its welcome either.
No, exactly.
I mean, I think of kids games I played as kids, and some of them are really long. You know?
Yeah. Well, we just also played, Disney Princess Pop-O-Matic Trouble the other day, and you can't move your piece till you get a 6, and then you get jumped on, and you go back to your base, and you do it again. It's like,
Yeah.
So that's my number 4. That's pretty clever, kids.
It's a good pick.
Thank you.
Well,
okay. You got your number 4, Chris?
Yeah, I got my number 4. My number 4 was a game that from the moment I started playing it, I was just going, I like this. I really like, and I felt like it just elevated over time. It involves bats. It does not involve an IP. It's Atiwa. We got Atiwa here on the screen. The bats,
Atiwa.
my friend. Oh my goodness, this game. So first and foremost, I was fascinated by this because I believe it was pitched to me as a game about bats pooping, which I said, I'm like, what? But that is really what I mean. That's part of this game. Certainly, it's part of the mechanic of it. This game's great because it involves a few things. It involves kind of expanding your board with these tiles that you're going to take and want to fill in. Now, in addition to that, the other thing that took me with this game is that you have the upgrading options that you do in many games, but your upgraded characters treat these bats with more respect. And so I really kind of appreciate the fact that they had a better understanding of the bats and their way of life and how that played into the sound mechanics of the game. Because we are trying to fill these boards. We are trying to collect points. We are we're trying to produce, crops here, really, as you can see. So it's using that guana to do so, and you want to be able to get it, but your boards you need to have a spot to put these things too. So there's a lot of balance of what do I need and which board am I going to take when I have the opportunity, and also where am I going to be, placing my pieces, because you do need to be strategic. This is, did I wash my hands after?
All throughout.
Yeah, all throughout.
After every move, get
That's what the cup is there for, you know.
But I just remember when we talk about a game that just took me by, like, whoa, I didn't anticipate loving this as much as I did, which is why it's in my top 5 this year for my favorite first plays of the year. Because it was it astounded me by how good this was, how deep of a game it was, and I want to play it more. And it's on that rare list where if I saw it on sale, I would pick it up for myself, even though you own a copy. That's how much I liked it.
The engine building, I think, is pretty fantastic too with it, because it makes total sense from a thematic standpoint. Like, so the more animals that are so if you look, there's like different rows for your different pieces, right? Let me see if I could actually open this. Can I do that? Can I do that? I could probably do that. Yeah. So let me do this. So on your board, right? This is your board on the left hand side, where it has like the trees and the orange fruit. Okay, so everyone has their own personal engine, and when you remove the top layer, which is animals, for a certain number of animals you remove, are a certain number of trees you're going to be adding to the board, because the animals will be, putting on droppings and fertilizing the ground, so trees will grow. The number of trees that are out there will synergize with the next row, which is how many fruits are going to be growing on those trees. And then when the fruits are off, you will now synergize with the bats. And based on the number of fruit out there, how many bats are getting attracted to your board. And you have to have specific spots for all of this stuff. So it's resource management, and you have specific small amount of tiles going on. And going back to your point about the trained and untrained families, as they're called in the game. So the trained families and the untrained families every turn will be collecting gold. And the untrained families will be collecting from the river, which causes pollution. The untrained family won't. They'll just get a single gold, right? But the untrained, and that's why the pollution tokens are up there. And that blocks up spaces from your resource board. But then, when it's time to feed your families, the trained families can eat everything. Can eat like everything that an untrained family can. But the untrained family would also eat bats. But the trained family won't, because they understand the importance of the bats to the ecosystem. Because every time you take an action on your turn, you could send out 3 bats to fly over your village and eat a fruit and drop a tree. And man, it's just synergies. Synergies. It's really nice. I really, someone brought up the other day online, like, what game would you do like intro worker placement? And this game looks scary for an intro, but honestly, based on the theme and how it integrates with the mechanics, I think it's a very, very solid intro to worker placement as well as engine building. Like, it really captures that feel, and you understand why it's doing it based on the thematic integration of this one. So,
like I said, that drew me in. Just how much it made sense, and I think that does make it probably more prone to be something you could teach someone fairly easily.
Yeah, and it's an Uwe Rosenberg game. Which I like Uwe, my favorite designer. Okay. Oh yeah, I totally hijacked number 4 because
that's okay. That's okay.
Did that. But you know what? I'm gonna hijack even further.
Uh-oh.
And go into my number 3. My number 3.
Before you do that, Ryan,
what?
Let me just do a friendly reminder. If anyone does want to call in, call-board.com.
Oh yeah.
Also in the chat, if you think you might know something that will be part of our favorite plays of 2023, feel free to guess in the chat, and you can then find out if that is the case. So
this is a harder one to do that on, right?
Unless
you are personally involved in one of the plays and have an inkling.
Because the only reason it may be more possible than may be possible is because many of these folks here probably have some inkling of things we've played because of a Discord. So
sure,
the only reason, but it's definitely harder than other categories, to say the least.
All right, well, my number 3 actually is a good example of that, because my number 3 is a game that I feel like on our Discord, a lot of people have played. okay? Because of us talking about it, because of it being on Board Game Arena, because of us running tournaments of it. And I'm surprised it wasn't on any of your guys' lists on how phenomenal this game was. And my number 3 is, of course, Spots. Spots is so good.
Yeah, that should have been on my list.
Spots is so good, man. So, yeah, so we got a
The thing
picture.
is-
Look at that.
The thing is, let me just stress. Yes, the first play was a blast for this one for me. It is not on my list.
Yeah.
But it was so hyped up that the first play I had was exactly what I expected because you said you're gonna love this.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why it does. Well, it does mean I didn't love Spots because I did obviously love Spots, but that's the why it doesn't fall into that top 5.
I think you just forgot about it. It's fine. So
I didn't.
I-
I'm the one who put the Spots tournament together. I did not forget about Spots.
well, let me bring up Spots again, right? Spots, designed by Alex Haig, John Perry, Justin Vickers from CMYK Games, came out in 2022. It is a game that, if you haven't played it, go play right now on Board Game Arena. It's a game where you are going to be rolling dice. The pips are spots, and you're filling up dog cards that need spots. And there's Bert, which is the best boy that Tyler brought up. Bert and Duke, for sure. Bitsy is a really funny one, too. And you're going to be taking these dice down and placing them onto different dog cards, trying to fulfill 6 dog cards. If you fulfill 6 dog cards, you win the game. Okay, and on your turn, you're either going to be performing a trick in the middle of the board, which a trick in this game is just an action, like a dog trick. Okay, not like a trick-taking game. Or if you have any completed dog cards, you can remove the dice from those cards and flip them over. The thing is, it's very push your luck, extremely push your luck, like can't stop style, right? Where you can keep the dice that you have in front of you on your dogs, but any dice you roll that don't fit on dogs have to go into your buried pile. And if your buried pile ever exceeds a total value of 7, you bust, and you remove that as well as all the dice you got exposed.
Well, higher than 7. 7, you're still safe.
Higher than 7, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. If it's higher than 7, you remove all the ones in your buried pile as well as all the ones on those dice that are exposed. Fantastic game. Fantastic game. 10 out of 10 spots. Like, so good. Yeah. Spots
It
is
is-
a game that, and this one too, is fantastic for introducing people to board games. Like, you want to see what board games can do? Here it is.
Well, I
Yeah.
like that you
Spots.
can also play with the same 6 set of rules, or you could do,
Oh yeah, there's tons of variety too.
You
Right.
could do the variation where you're changing every round. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
does have a
off the
ton of that.
leash.
Yeah,
Off
off
the
leash
leash.
variant.
Yeah,
That's how I prefer to play, for sure. But
Yeah.
if you're introducing the new people, yeah, you just stick with that first introductory set. It's still going to be a blast.
Yeah,
and obviously
that's
my
Spots.
family does quite enjoy it. There's my son.
Yeah.
Though we are partial to the Bucky card, which he is holding. He's got the other dogs. But
Yes.
all that matters is Bucky. So, because that's my dog. But
Excellent pick. Excellent.
yes. By the way, we got a caller, guys.
We do.
We're gonna bring in Nick, and we're gonna see what is on Nick's list for favorite first plays of 2023. And here we go. Hey, Nick.
Hey guys, how's it
Hey,
Oh.
go
How are ya?
Fins.
going? Woo woo. Got a big game this weekend.
Yeah.
Hopefully not blow it. We'll see.
So
How's everybody doing?
we're
Doing
having a
good.
good time.
Yeah.
Though I've been accused of cheating, so I'm not sure how I feel. But no, we're having a good time. And it's been fun. I mean, obviously we love seeing the active chat, but we love seeing people call in and hearing what's on their mind. So when you're thinking about this topic, Nick, what comes
Yeah.
to mind for you for 2023?
So I actually kind of had like little categories within it because I, like a lot of you guys, tracked it all on BG Stats and kind of looked at it. So I had one for kind of a light game and going off the different animals that people were talking about, like camel and squirrel. What about like a penguin and a shark? Does that ring a bell?
Oh,
Penguin and a shark.
Penguin and a shark would be. Is that gonna be? Where is?
Oh,
my
is that
copy?
deep? Is that deep dive?
Well, I was thinking there's a sea. Was
Yes.
Penguins are in sea salt and paper?
There you
though.
go.
Oh,
We're
sea
playing a
salt
game
and
right now.
paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and this one, it's one of those like the first play or two of it, I was like, okay, what is this? I didn't really think much, and then it started clicking. And I was like, okay, here we go. And it's got like the extra salt now, but it just it's one of those games. I think you can play it like really quick. It plays really good at like 2-player. You can play up to 4 players, and it's just like super quick, super smooth. If you got like a quick lunch break or something like that, break it out. It's one I introduced to my son, and he's really enjoyed it. He loves stealing cards from people, so it's for such a like a simple design. There's a lot of play in there for sure.
This almost made my list. This was in consideration. This is a delight, and it's one of those games. And I haven't played the expansion. Or it's coming out.
That's on BGA as well, by the way.
Yeah. So I have never even played with it on there, but I will just say this one, it didn't really click for me nearly as much until I played the physical version. I liked the game online, but this was a great example of where I played that physical game. It was like, oh wow, I do really like this. And I gotta tell everybody, the card stock, you can attest to this. That card stock is like it's good. Like this is one of the best games in terms of just a nice thick card stock. It just feels great in your hand as you're playing these cards down. So this is a great choice.
For sure. Yeah, and I think it's like within my top. I got like 120 plays of it or something just from BGA. That's how quick
wow.
it is. So that was my light category. Medium weight. This is the highest played game. I've played this with Dan a lot from Discord. War Chest.
Wow. Yeah, Chris loves this.
That was new to you last year?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
I know it's been out for a little bit, but
It was new to me last year too, actually.
Yep. No, this is one I think the more you play it, the more you find out the little subtle things about the game, and the combinations with the different groups you can do, and also too, it's interesting because you got all the different combos, right? So you're working out your combos, you do all the drafting, and you start like knocking down people's units, and then in the back of the mind, you got to remember that the objective is to get 6 territories. So you can destroy all their units. That's great, but they could still win from getting the 6 territories. So it definitely like has a good pace to it.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head, because I've played this a lot more last year than I had prior, and you do start to pick on here's the combos, or not that. Like there's certain ones that are just great. Like Cavalry, for example, is really great for running around the board. But it's not necessarily gonna, once it gets knocked out, depending what's on the board in the beginning for the draft. Which, by the way, I assume the first time you played, I gotta ask, did you do it with the draft mode, or did you do it like a preset? Because there is also like some people have done like a preset, or you're getting these ones, I'm getting these ones.
Yeah, I think it was preset, and then you do draft, and then they have all the different expansions. And now, like I've done, and I can play, and I'll like beat my wife a bunch, but then I'll go on a tournament and get my butt kicked. So you can definitely tell that some people like have a higher skill of it. But now you can you eliminate units. So I think that's the first step, is eliminating 2 units, 1 each, and then drafting from there.
Yeah.
So So yeah, that's
Marcel, by the way, in the house, guys, and Marcel is a big war chest fan.
Hey.
We had a brutal match where the other night that I got taken out way too quickly, unfortunately. So you had lightweight, you had
Yep.
light, medium. So do we have a
Light,
heavy
medium.
coming?
I do, and this one's cheating a little bit because I've actually played it before this year, but I bring it up because it's just one of those I didn't realize all the layers it had, and I think I'd only played it once before. I played it once, like 5-player, and this is the year I really played it a ton at PAX Pamir Second Edition.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I've been going back and forth in like my favorite Whirligig game. I know they have the Molly House one out that I'm eager to try, but I've enjoyed John Company. I think I might give it a PAX Pamir a slight edge though. Just because one of the things that's nice about it is it really plays well at 2-player, which is common for me and my wife to play a lot. And just from the very beginning, like when you're picking your allegiance, and just going through it, where if there is more than 4 blocks of a type of faction on there, they're the dominant one, and it's going to score differently during the check. Or if it's not dominant, then it's the most cylinders gets the points. But then there's so many ways of like changing up your allegiance during it, like knocking out the other person's cards. Like we play a lot of duel, but I play it with like 5 players. But with a duel, it can be pretty like hardcore, where like she might pick up like my wife. I think she did it to me, and then I did it back to her, and she's like, "Damn, that sucks." Like now I know how you felt. Where basically every time I played a unit, she would just like assassinate it, and I never got cards out. And then I was like, "Oh, okay, I did that." So like this most current play, I was like, all right, I see she has an assassination card, so I'm not gonna play any cards yet until I have something that can defeat that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's just so much layers to this game, and I feel like every play is going to be different.
Yeah, I remember teaching it once to a friend and to Squirrel. And the teach ended up being longer than the actual game because there are a lot of layers and a lot of things to consider. But it's a game that you need to play more than once, for sure. Like, PAX Pamir is a game that really, like, you uncover a lot of things going on with it. The presentation of Second Edition, by the way, is gorgeous. The economy's fantastic because all the money that you spend goes back into the general market that other people could get. And
you
could
get it too on that same turn using your tax.
Yeah,
that's what's
right.
Cool.
Yeah, using the tax you could do that, right? And then I like the tension there because the dominance checks are huge because the way to win this game, guys, you have to either be 4 points ahead of all the other players, or when the last dominance check card comes out, which is only 4 of them, the game ends. And anytime there's a dominance check card in that market, you could choose to get the dominance check card, or you could, or as soon as there's 2 dominance check cards in the market, it resolves immediately. So there's like this really cool tempo going on that you need to really consider, because sometimes you may not want to get a card because there's a chance the dominance card's going to come out and it's going to bone you because you're not anywhere near winning right now. Yeah. Exactly. PAX Pamir, don't ignore anyone or they win. And yeah, and it's really hard. I feel like it's not just really hard. It's very easy to actually to see how the game is going on because everything is really out in front of you. There's not a lot of hidden information, and it doesn't feel like information overload. It may feel like that the first time you play it, but it's not a tremendous amount the more times you play it for sure. And just like some other games mentioned today, you can play for free on rallythetroops.com. And now on BGA too.
Yeah, for sure.
You need to teach me this one because I got to play this.
Yeah?
I've heard about this so many times. Hearing you talk about it now, you bringing this up, Nick. This has got to get played, and it looks. I mean, it looks beautiful, but what I've heard is a really beautiful mesh of mechanics. Is this game? So yeah,
Very
that's the
cutthroaty.
experience.
And I actually had three others, if that's okay. It's kind of like, it's also on the Discord. It's ones that I appreciate having channels for them on the Discord. It's kind of got me introduced to them, which is cool. These are ones I'm hoping to explore more, because I think if like next year, I think they could be in the same position these other three were. But light, medium, Rolling Realms. I've been playing that, enjoying that. We at 2-player, and I've been doing some solo of that recently. Just the golf version. That's fun.
Yeah, I need to play this one still. I will. It's over there.
There's a lot in the box.
Copies. I give him a copy of every card when I get a new pack, so he has every single card sitting in the house. He's got one of my, he's ready to go.
It's in a dice tray, like it's ready to go. Yeah,
it's literally ready to go. There's even a dice there, probably.
Yeah.
No, I've just been getting into this now, but I can definitely see get more plays of it. Next one, Marvel Champions. I know it's got its own channel, and this is one. I found a good deal on eBay. Somebody was selling their collection. That's always the way to go, right? And we played a few rounds of the base box, and like it's just like I feel like you should, if you can, like any of the IP that you really like find like 1 or 2 games of that you really enjoy, and just find that and play that a bunch. And this is, I think, the Marvel one for us. And we played through. We're playing through the Spider-Verse one right now, and we did.
Okay.
We did. Trying to think. There's one other one we did, and Thanos. We did the Thanos one.
Oh yeah.
And it's a blast.
I'm the first to tell anybody, but I'm awful at actually doing the campaigns. I really should actually do them sometime, but I'm awful at completing them.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a resolution. Who knows?
You just like to beat up Rhino all the time, right?
No, I'm still seeking revenge against Kang at this moment.
Oh yeah, we did that. That's no scenario required though.
No, Kang is tough.
Yeah. No, that's a great one. Good pick.
Yeah, and you said you got it in a batch and then continued to add to it, I assume.
I had that problem. It's like, oh, you have most of it. Well, why don't you just complete it then?
It's the right place for that problem. Don't worry.
Oh, Deadpool came out. He's got to be in there too. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
all that for sure. And then the last one, and this is one I'm like hoping to, because I played it like once or twice, like 4 or 5 years ago, and then this past year I played 2 of the series, and then I'm hoping to do like once a month is the 18XX series for heavy games. Yeah.
Wait, which one?
So, just like
Any?
I want to try it. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I was trying to do the Australia one this month. I just did the print and play for the Mars one, so my wife's a big space nerd, so probably get that played. And
you haven't done any though, right?
Oh no, I've done 46 and 30.
Okay.
A few times each, but
those are the good standards.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good start, and then but it's one of those, like I feel like once you play like one of them, you're gonna understand probably like 70% of all the other ones, and then it's just these little subtle rules that change.
Yeah.
But I think just one of those on a weekend, break it out for the day, and then there you go.
Man. Yeah, they're fantastic. Like I could talk your ear off.
You made Ryan's night because every time he tries to talk to me, to
Yeah,
18
18 Chessy for sure is a solid one.
is that
My
the one-
favorite is Shikoku 1889 for sure. And then
I think that's on my shelf too. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the one
Oh,
you
yeah.
always say you would introduce me with?
Chesapeake.
Chesapeake. Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna like that one. Or your no, I can't give you your time back, but you know. But it's
Oh,
good
man.
stuff.
Nick,
Yeah,
you brought
expect like it's one of those like I think if you go into the game session expecting it to be 4 hours, 5 hours, then you're gonna get that. You're gonna get
Yeah.
your money's worth.
I do know in person 18xx if you play I played with people that like all about 18xx games, and when you play like 2 or 3 hours, there's like a point where they just call it and they're like, okay, well this person's clearly gonna win, so and then they kind of calculate how the rest of the money will go. Like you could really spreadsheet the rest of the turns.
Why don't we use that rule in Food Chain Magnate then with me?
Wow. Wow.
Another great one. Yeah.
Not a favorite first play of yours. I see.
No, I did enjoy Food Chain Magnate. I had to say that game would very much be over have you not given us the benefit of some education and not being able to take the little bonuses
in
and
our video that we did, I think there's a point like maybe 30 or 45 minutes in where I said, "Hey Rob, I think you're doing pretty good," which is me saying like, "Hey, Rob's gonna win this, guys. There's no way."
Yeah. I did the math.
And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think I got this." So, but you play it enough, you know who's gonna win, and you know why.
Oh man. Nick, anything else good going on? I do want to say thank you for obviously being part of a Discord and being so engaging and some great choices in games, obviously. Certainly, I mean, you brought a War Chest, so I'm a little biased there, but I love me some War Chest. Though I will say on the War Chest front, very excited with the stuff coming out this year with the like spies and other items there.
Can't wait for that. Yeah.
I can't wait to see what those mix into this game. So
yeah. No,
good stuff ahead.
That's great for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I mean, I just started a small YouTube channel and did some tutorials. I do want to mix them up on there. I could put an 18x on there as well. But what's been cool is my son's really gotten into it as well, and so he's joined all the recommended videos. So I think the next one we might do is like his intro into gaming, which really kind of took off for him. So 5 or 6 games that really got him hooked on the hobby, because now we're playing, like I mentioned, like Sea Salt and Paper or the Trick Taking, or what was it? We played Clank Legacy. I mean, like he's getting into he's 8, but he's getting into a lot of these ones, and I think a lot of it has to do with putting down that kind of foundation at the beginning to where he's able to pick up stuff now.
Love to hear that. Love to hear that. And definitely feel free to drop a link if you like to any of your recent stuff over in the chat. Make sure you share with everybody so they can find you. And obviously we appreciate you and thanks for come on board tonight and calling in. Loving all the call-ins. And I will say you can be like Nick and you can do call-aboard.com. Call in and share some of your favorite first plays from 2023, which, as we said, do not have to be from 2023.
And I do want to add for you in particular, Nick, not my first play, not your first play as well, but probably our most play together. Like how many games? 30 games of Tigris and Euphrates. We still got another one going on right now too.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. Like you could talk all day about like your favorite games or get experiences. That's another one. Like and simple rules, but just every little move
so much
on the board changes the game. It's awesome.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Have a great night.
Yeah.
Take care, Nick.
Later.
We do have a quick list of some games for first place here from Attorney Copy.
Oh, cool.
Oh, it's Ian.
Oh, it's Ian. Hi,
It's
Ian.
Ian.
Oh,
Different handle.
Yeah, Battle of Versailles, which we played, Rats of Wistar, and Demon Ship. So I
Yeah.
almost put Battle of Versailles on this list, but I want to play it more. And I really liked our first play of it. I played it with Ian for my first play.
I need to play it again.
Yeah.
But I did really enjoy it. And I did like Rats of Wistar. I need to play it again though. It was a fun experience for me. But I guess we gotta go back to our list, don't we?
oh yeah, the list.
So we are looking at we got 3 for Ryan, and then Anthony or myself can go next. I mean, Anthony, it's up to you if you want to go first or second. You
I'll
tell
zoom
me.
out. a
I'll
little
go now, right now.
Do it.
Go now.
All right, my number 3 is a game that I know both of you also enjoy. Now, Espen, you had a first play of this in 2023 also,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't with me.
Right.
This is Scout.
Yep.
So Scout is well, first of all, it's from
I can
Oink
zoom
Games.
in. Yeah.
And this is I guess a card shedding game. Is that what they call it? You're trying to get rid of your hand essentially. So
Yeah.
think like Uno. But it's got this very cool mechanism where you can kind of, it's not just playing the same thing that's out there already. Like you can trump that stuff with a higher pair or things that are 3 in a row, 4 in a row.
Oh,
But
they're runs, right?
they're
They're called runs.
runs.
Right. Yes.
Right, yeah.
Runs. But you can't rearrange the cards that are in your hand. So you get dealt this hand, and all the cards have numbers on them, but they're also not double-sided, but they're double, oriented. There's different numbers on the bottom of the card. And you can arrange them one way or the other, but then that's what you're sticking with. And you can't rearrange them in your hand after that. So it's not just what do I have to play for my hand? It's what can I do now versus what am I going to be able to do later, right? If I finally get to shed this thing on the left or thing on the right, and depending on what's out there to play on top of. Now, you can also talk about the theme a little bit, which is very thin.
Mm-hmm.
It is a circus, basically. You're I guess running a circus with different shows or different characters and things like that. But that's very much besides the point. Yes, thank you, Squirrel, for clarifying. I'm not explaining the mechanism very well here. You can play the numbers in your hand or flip your whole hand before you start to get them a different way around. Thank you.
Yeah. You choose the orientation.
Right. And yeah, that's basically it. I've played this a few times now, and it's always gone over really well with the folks that I've played with. Chris, you have a few plays of this under your belt too, I think, right?
Yeah, this one definitely it's a blast. I find this one just to be just a well-designed game, period. And I mean, I think I said this on a previous video. Yeah, I could throw the theme out and put whatever in it, but the mechanics of it are just sound.
But
So
once you get it and you play it once, you immediately want to play again.
Yeah.
I think it takes
that's what
a
stuck
play.
out for me.
I do think it takes like a half of a play to kind of because that's right. Dr. J talking, we did play it with Arwen.
That was my first play of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
yeah.
And that was
and
so
man,
great.
I loved that. Like it was so well done because because you're playing until you make a full circle because you could choose to beat the runs that are in front of you. And if you do, you have to make it till it's your turn again. And if no one beat your run, you win. And you score points, and everyone like kind of scores like negative points, essentially. I mean, it's not always. I mean, yeah, you're always getting negative something for losing. But man, Scout is phenomenal. Like, oh, there's an app. Oh
the
man,
Oink app you can actually buy within the app games. I think Scout's one of the ones you would pay for.
Scout is
within
so
the app.
good though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The app's probably worth it. No shuffling.
Yeah. But holy moly, like I actually only played this one once. Period.
Yeah. So
Okay.
did this make your list?
Did not make my list, and honestly, probably should have. But I really like Scout a lot. Like I really want to play it again some more, and it's such like a like, man, it's just great size. Yeah, it's such
It
a good
is.
small box.
Yeah, little box busted out, and
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, everyone's gonna be like, "Wow, that was a really good game. That's just cards and some point tokens."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was one of the games I was planning on bringing with me for the holidays. Like I had it in my holidays bag, and then obviously, COVID and flu and strep all hit it in my household at once. So, but had I made it, Scout would have been, I'm sure, a hit this holiday season.
Sweet.
Great choice.
Yeah.
All right, over to you, Barrows.
I'm going back to 1999, I believe.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I was dreaming
because
when
I played this game for the first time this past year. I played it, by the way, at our local board game Montclair gathering, and it involves auctioning and set collection. And let's just say it's raw, the auction and set collection game. This game I had heard about. I knew it existed. It had been existed for a long time. And I think I have the year right. I think 1999 is correct on that.
That's what it says here.
Okay, good. So the auction system in this, for one, where we're trying to get the pieces we want, the bids to get the points. There's this tension building in this game because the round might end before I have a chance to get everything I need. And now I played your deluxeified version. I just want to point this out. I played the deluxeified version. I don't think it matters if I played a deluxeified version or not, though the giant Ankh was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think
it's raw. It's giant raw.
It's raw, the giant raw.
Yeah.
But yeah. So when it comes down to it, this experience of either do I get immediate points, do I prevent negative points, like all those choices I have to make, but so simple because ultimately there's really only 4 or 5 core choices I'm making outside of the number I'm trying to get to do my bid, get the bids I want. And this is a gem for me. I loved this. It was such an incredible first experience. And it stood out for me, and that's why it's on this list. And it's obviously a classic for a reason. And glad that I got it in finally in 2023.
By the way, before I jump into my raw stuff, I do want to point out there's talk about El Grande and the new edition. It is coming out this month in the U.S.
Yep.
And I have a neighbor who pre-ordered it, and I'm very excited to play it because El Grande is amazing. But you know what else is amazing, Chris?
Raw?
It's my number one. Raw is my number one favorite first play of 2023. With Raw, everything you said is true, but here's some more. Phenomenal at every player count. 2, 3, 4, 5. The game plays phenomenal. I can't say that about El Grande, but for Raw, for sure. And it's crazy because an auction game working at 2, it works really well at 2. Because on your turn, your what you're auctioning with is very limited because the winning bid is one of your either 3 or 4 only bids in the entire round. And you're bidding on everything that comes out, but there's still this pressure of the round ending based on how many raw tiles come out. And oh my gosh, what a trade-off. Like, this game is nothing but trade-offs and nothing but tension and nothing but people chanting rah, 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 and then pulling out stuff and just ending. And oh man, like, Raw is a game that sings to me. And here's the thing. I'm also sort of cheating on this. Here's why. I played Raw, but I never finished my first ever game of Ra, way back in 2012 at Gil Hova's house, and we never finished. And I didn't really think much about it at the time. But as the years went on, Ra was out of print. I wanted to try Ra. I'm trying out more Knizia games, so I really want to try out Ra. This new edition comes out, which Ian said he's biased because he worked on it a little bit. So I got the new edition. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. It is a game I will always am happy to play, happy to introduce, happy to bring any gamer, regardless if they're someone who's played so many different board games or if it's their very first game, period. Ra is incredibly approachable, incredibly engaging, and it's the kind of game that I like when I talk about board games. Constant engagement, constant tension, and so many jump up and shout moments in a game that came out in 1999. So that's Ra. Go play Ra if you haven't played Ra.
I haven't played Ra.
Anthony, you would love Ra.
We need to play it.
I like yelling stuff.
Oh, it's good. It's good for yelling. It's good for jump out and screaming and shouting.
Well, here's the choice. Do you want to finish up your list?
Nope.
Or do we want Anthony to jump over to his number 2?
Number 2.
Anthony's number 2.
All right, number 2 is a game that I also believe two of you like a lot, and I know there's been mentions of it in the Discord as well. Now, I have only played it one time. Okay, so you guys are probably going to be better explaining the mechanics of it, but that one time was really, really fun. And in fact, it was at one of the Montclair board game meetups, and that is Heat. Put the pedal to the metal. I don't really like racing. I don't like cars that much. But there was something about managing your speed and using that deck building to do that was just so captivating, and just seeing there's that push your luck too, right? I'm gonna go full steam at that turn and hope for the best. And oh god, it didn't work. And you go into the guardrail or whatever. But sometimes it does work, and man, does it pay off. This is it's a stunner to look at. Right. And again, I've only played it one time, and I know there's so much more to this game than what I've experienced with the whole series and do the championship mode or whatever. I am totally on board for this. This game really, really, really stuck out. I enjoyed it so much, and I really want to play it again. So
I want to own this. That's my plan is to own this game, even though Ryan has it. It needs to be in my house. I'm with you. I technically played it at PAX Unplugged. So it doesn't fall under 2023.
Oh, you played it. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, but
in 2022,
probably would have been right at the top.
Yes, Eddie, you did play with me. That's right. Yeah. Man, that was fun.
I need to flash back to that moment because your words, Sparrows. Heat. It was fine.
Yeah.
Now you want to own it.
Now I want to, because I think this is a game that when you add those modules in goes from good to great to potentially exceptional. I mean, it really is. And with more expansion, more stuff coming by expansion.
Yeah, Heavy Rain is coming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to own this. To me, needs to be on my shelf just as much as a Ticket to Ride or something else needs to be on my shelf. It just deserves to be on a Board Gamer shelf, and it's that good. So
yeah, I like to hate on the hype, I'm not gonna lie. And Heat Pedal to the Metal lives to that hype and exceeds it. Like, it's so good. The trade-offs you're having, the constant decision of, do I push it and put that heat card from my engine into my discard pile because I'm bloating my engine, but I really want to go and I really want to slipstream, and oh, you better not. Oh, and I want to make sure you're not slipstreaming off of me. That's the worst feeling when you set someone else up for a better win, because they're loving it, and I hate that. and it feels so good. And I'm talking about you, Squirrel. You're watching right now. That one game we played, I set you up for it. And you took that turn. You took that turn and won the entire game. It was that one moment, and no one could catch up. So, yeah, I'm looking at you. Heat fell to the metal though, fantastic. Love playing it. Want to play it again. Every time I talk about it, want to play it again. Heat fell to the metal.
By the way, I have to point out because Chewy Huey mentioning Wonderland's War, it would have been on my list had I not actually played kind of like and it was a half-ass experience. Wasn't the best experience because I clearly didn't know what I was doing, but in 2022. But Wonderland's War probably would be on this list because I really like Wonderland's War. We did play that on the channel as well.
Yeah, I would have made my top 10.
Yeah.
Well, that's my number 2.
All right.
Take it over, Barros.
I am happy to share my number 2. My number 2 is one I've played a lot on Board Game Arena, but it clicked there. But I am referring more so to my first physical play of this game for all of these. And let me just tell you, this one shines when I put it on the actual table and actually play it with the marbles, and I'm putting my little, I don't even know what I'm supposed to actually call them, but I put the little toppers over the marbles to indicate where I went. It's Kulami. This game, I can't tell you what is so fantastic about it individually, but collectively, when you put all of these pieces together, the fact that it's so much variety here because you don't have to put them all in the square. It's a simple concept game that anyone can play, and it's that easy as you're placing a marble and then your opponent can place a marble in a select amount of spots. It's area control with marbles, really, right? But there's this great strategic element as the game goes on where it's like, oh, I can set them up to go there, which means then that I'm going to be able to put it here, and then they're not going to be able to put it anywhere except here. And so these great moments click. Kulami was just such a joy to discover this year. And in the same way that I kind of talked about spots, I think earlier in the year, this actually surpassed it for me just from the physical experience, just because when you actually look at these pieces and those big chunky, those red and black pieces that go over the marbles, I mean, it's a special experience for me, and this was big, and I think it's very approachable. I think I could teach this at a very young age. And
so what do you do? You're basically eating the marbles with your big piece?
No. So when you go in this game, you're covering that because you can't go on the same spot where you just went, or on in the same board where the previous person just went. So you do that to mark the spots that you are not able to go back to. That's all it is. Those are just markers of that. But there's a really cool, it's why board games are fun, and why, as much as like Board Game Arena, the physical board game is so important, because after you place your marble, you're covering it up with this, and because it's this hollowed meeple, really, in a sense, or how little. It's just fun.
Yeah, it's really cool. Because I love those moments where you get to, because the thing is, when you're placing them down, the rules restrictions are when you place your marble, you need to place your marble in an orthogonal line from the previous placed marble of your opponent, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So you'll see right here, the hand that hand is placing a red marble down from where the black marble was. The thing is, you can only go in that row or column of, that intersecting previous topper was, and you can't go in the same exact mini square because it's a giant board made up of multiple mini squares. And at the end of the game, which is determined by you can't make any more, it's illegal to make any more movements. You are going to score points per segment, per square. So whoever has majority of that square is going to get points. So in this case, a 2x2 square, right, has 4 spots. It's worth 4 points. Whoever's majority is going to get 4 points. A 1x3 is 3 points, right? It goes all the way up to a 2x3, so 6 points is the most you'll get.
Yeah,
And
it's
so
neat
cool.
It's neat because it's so modular. You could play as a square,
Yeah.
which is the basic way, or it could be this very randomized board where there's a spot where there's really only one way it can go back.
That's cool.
And so it has a lot of replayability. But yeah, this was a gem for me. This game obviously is an older game, but I was so glad to discover this one, which I'm grateful. I did discover it because of Board Game Arena, right?
Yeah.
Like that's where the discovery came from. And then when I got to physically play, I mean, I remember we were at RockCon, right?
And they had it, yeah.
We were over at RockCon, and I saw it. I was like, oh, that's what it looks like. And I would have otherwise passed over this game completely.
Yeah, and that's how we played it too, Marcel. We played it because we were doing the alphabet challenge and we needed a K. And so here's a K on Board Game Arena. So I'm glad.
Yeah. But that's my number 2. That's
that almost made my list too.
Well, you got a number 2 to still reveal, and then
I do. So I will. My number 2 was my favorite game of 2023, and that is Undaunted Stalingrad. Now, I bring up Undaunted Stalingrad, designed by Trevor Benjamin and David Thompson from 2022, because it's not the first Undaunted game I've played, and it's not the last Undaunted game I've played, but it's the best Undaunted game I played. It takes the system of Undaunted, which I think was a solid system in Normandy, but it couples it now to a ongoing legacy style campaign. And the thing about this game is that, first of all, it's not like true legacy. It's a campaign system that you can reset and play again. And it's not really spoilers in it either. The important things about it, though, is that all these different tiles that make up the board will upgrade or degrade based on if buildings exploded in them and such, because of some damage you may have done. Not only that, but your troops that are out there could upgrade or downgrade depending on if they take injury, or if they, or completing a scenario, you get to upgrade a specific number of troops, and they last like that permanently. And the game has so much going for it, so much into it, that honestly, anything could break it. Like, if it wasn't so carefully designed and developed, it will completely break. And this game delivers so well. I adore this system in this setting, where you get to have that feeling of upgrading, the constant decisions of, not only am I going to be recruiting these cards, but if I recruit this card and I lose this card, I possibly will lose it for the rest of the campaign. For sure, how is Stalingrad more of a campaign over Normandy? So Normandy, they're all single scenarios, okay? And you can play them in a campaign where you just, based on number of casualties and stuff per mission, you just see at the end what faction won. This, though, is a campaign. You can't play it out of turn. You need to play it from start to finish. And again, specific cards will upgrade for the rest of the entire campaign or be gone for the entire campaign. Specific tiles will upgrade or downgrade and just go away for the rest of the campaign. I am really enjoying this. It also adds a lot. It basically, it's one of those campaign games too, where it slowly rolls out the game mechanics, but not too slow where you lose interest. It does it at a nice pace where it adds a little bit more complexity, so you could jump back in. And if you've never played any of the Undaunted games, don't start with this one. Start with Battle of Britain, because that's the best one in my opinion, for like standalone ones. But if you want the best one, if you like that system and want to see it really fleshed out and have another player that is down to do it with you, Undaunted Stalingrad, phenomenal.
Yeah, and I guess I need to talk about this one
You
because
do.
this is my number one.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and I will note Battle of Britain, also fantastic. This though this really was, I think this was the first one I did in Undaunted.
Yeah.
And now mind you, I had some familiarity with the terminology that David and Trevor used, so I think that eased me into this a little bit, because a lot of the concepts, even if you've played, it's not a direct comparison, but if you played War Chest and other ones, you at least have some sense of how they design stuff, and it did help me a little bit, I have to admit. This experience has been so much fun. We're far from done, but I will say that the streamlining of the game to the fact that, okay, in the next round, I know, that I've lost some people, and that I know I also may be getting some new people. And then when I'm opening up a scenario book and says, oh, you now have one of these, that's cool. And I can go in. I believe there was a mission where I lost, but I destroyed it. But
I lost a lot of cards.
I destroyed a ton of cards that by the time we get to the end of his game, maybe a huge reason why I have a chance to win. So I feel like you don't need to actually necessarily win your match on a daily basis to be enjoying it, because I could lose 2 or 3 in a row, but have done enough damage that in the end game, I still might come away with this campaign. And it's been fun. And I'll just echo what you've said. It's so well designed, and it very easily could break at any given moment, and it has not broken. It just has not. And those inserts,
that insert I did buy, and it's been that insert's been phenomenal. So
I actually would go as far as recommending the inserts. This is not brought to you by Folded
I mean,
Space,
the base insert it comes with is pretty solid too.
I know, but these are I really like these.
But this is nice. Yeah, you have everything all organized and nicely ready to go.
Well, it's nice also to put my destroyed cards so easily away in a thing, but I still see them. And
no, the cards are it's the chits that are really the important thing. Like that's something the folded space insert improves upon as opposed to the cards and the tile system. Because the base game insert is really solid, and you don't need the folded space one. But for sure, the folded space one is pretty nice.
I think Chewy Huey would disagree and say you need.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. We do have a bet, by the way. Here we got Squirrel saying, "I'm taking a shot in the dark," and he thinks your number one is Sky Team.
Well, that is a pretty big shot in a pretty dark room, because that is incorrect. I don't even know what that game is, so you're way far off.
It's the 2-player landing an airplane game where it feels like you're kind of in a dark room, which I don't know. Yeah, I like the game, but
I like it, but I don't think I need to play it physically again, because I enjoyed it, but I almost should have picked up at PAX Unplugged when I knew it was just sitting right there before it sold out in front of me.
Yeah. Well, my number one is a game that I picked up at PAX Unplugged. Now, this may be on the March list as well, so I'm just going to preface that, and I've already talked about it a little bit, but that is Santa's Workshop, the second edition. This is from Elf Creek Games, from designer Keith Ferguson. Plays 2 to 5, although I think 4 is a better cap, but I would need some more plays to solidify that. But basically, this is the 2 sweet spots for me, which is why it's the number one and why it was a great first play. First of all, I've been looking forward to playing this game for many years, because my best buddy Eric has the first edition of this game, and him and I both just love Christmas. And he has talked about this game every year, and I've never had a chance to play it. And so now that the second edition came out, I was super excited for it. And man, this hits two boxes really well. It's because it is that light to middleweight style weight game, worker placement game. Okay. And you add the Christmas theme that is super rich in this game, and that's going to seal it for me, and that's why it's so high on my list. It is the perfect weight for families, Squirrel. You're absolutely right. And on top of that, there's even 2 different ways to play. There is an advanced rule setup, which I have played, and then a more of a basic one. But either way, you really feel like you are in the theme. You're building toys. You're taking care of reindeer. You're going to get material from the shop to make those toys. And in this advanced version, you're basically using your coal as currency to do those things. You can upgrade your coal capacity and get bonuses for going to certain places first. And I just love it. I love everything about it. I think one of you had asked me back when I first talked about it if it would get to the table any other time besides Christmas, and it probably won't. And I think that's part of the magic for me is that I'm going to look forward to it every year now, because I have a ton of Christmas games, and it's obviously a lot of Christmas games out there, but this is certainly the most thematic and the heaviest. Now, it's not a heavy game by any means, but it's the heaviest of all the Christmas games. When you look at things like, Santa's Bag and the Elf game and all the Funko Christmas stuff, this is certainly another level from that. So, and Dr. J agrees, his family's first worker placement game, and they really enjoyed it. That's perfect. And again, going back to one of my previous picks, That's So Clever Kids, this is now that springboard on how to get into worker placement games. You played this a few times, now you introduce a new one. Oh, remember in Santa's Workshop how if you're the first person to go to this spot, you can do this bonus? Well, that's how this works over here. And remember how in Santa's Workshop, you paid for stuff with coal? Well, in this game, you're going to use this resource, and there's 3 different resources you can use to pay for stuff. It's a great jumping off point, and that's why I'll champion for this one all year round. Ho ho ho!
Yeah,
I
agree. I agree with your assessment of this, because it is a game that I can tell you will hit the table every Christmas.
Yeah,
and I'll pick it over the other generally smaller box too.
Yeah,
holiday games that I have, and it's gonna be this falls under, this becomes the Christmas tradition for me. That's pretty cool. So
100%.
for me, I can totally I'm not surprised this is on your list based on what you were talking about before and excitement. I mean, I remember, and this is probably the most purchased game from the collective group that we were hanging out with at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah, for sure.
We realized, oh, you got one. Oh yeah, I got one too. You got it was like,
I think it was 4 of us, right? Not myself included. But.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure Dr. J's family was saying if you need to just take his, referring to my game, because I want that. So that's how, this was a hot commodity. Though I mean, I don't know if they actually sold out. I feel like they still had some left on that last day.
I don't think it was a matter of that. I just think it was something that I think a lot of people were in the same boat as me, where they knew about this game. They were excited that it was getting reprinted, because I don't know how available the first edition is. And again, I haven't played the first edition, but I think they streamlined a couple things or polished a couple things a little bit. And, great components too. Get some nice different little elf-looking characters. And, oh yeah, my daughter told me to steal Chris's game.
Yeah.
They did.
I'm glad it did not come to that.
That was the threat. But, yeah. No, it's a good choice. It's a good choice. And it is delightful. I did enjoy this was a fun game. I played it once or twice, I think, over the holidays, and it'll be back on the table next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to play it one year.
I think you'll enjoy it. Again, it's not a brain burner by any means.
Need to be.
But it's fun.
Awesome. And that was our top 5 of our first plays of 2023. And again, if you want to take a look at that full list, Ryan's got it up on the screen. And I will just say, this has been such a wonderful kickoff to 2024. We've got some good stuff coming your way. I know we've started to map out our schedule a little bit more in advance this year.
Yep.
So we can give you a little bit of a heads up. You're also going to find that we are going to be trying to connect some of those dots with our creators corners and games a little bit this year, a little bit more than maybe we did in the past year. So hopefully you can watch us play a game and hear about it from the designer in a short span of time. So we're gonna have some fun. We do have a playthrough next week, and I believe Ryan's got the game nearby to.
I do. So we're gonna be playing Doubt Is Our Product next week, which is a 2-player asymmetric game designed by Annabelle Holland. Came out last year. Where you are, Doubt Is Our Product: Tobacco, Disinformation, and Profit in the 20th Century. Man, what a theme! So so we either get to be big tobacco or the movement up against it.
And with completely different play, asymmetric play. So you're playing two.
Yeah, it's a deck builder. One player is playing a deck builder. The other player is playing a worker placement game.
Yeah. But that's what we're going to be up to next week. And we'll certainly encourage everybody to jump onto the Discord if they would like to stay up to date on the daily on what's happening. You already heard mentions. We've got a lot of live game, a lot of board game arena happening on there, and some channels. Plus, before we go, Ryan, if we could, I would love to just take one brief moment, because one thing that was sort of born out of the Discord was Mr. Rao coming up with this idea for a podcast. And many of the people who are on the Discord have participated in the podcast first week. So I wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Rao, because he put out this podcast. It is a collective. And I'm going to ask, because my keyboard's not handy right here, but if someone can drop that in the chat, because I know at least one or two of you are around to do that.
That's the Talkin' Tabletop podcast.
Yep. Talkin' Tabletop podcast. And that's going to be going out, I believe, every 2 weeks. So definitely going to encourage you to check that out. And congrats to Mr. Rao on creating this and taking everyone's kind of thoughts and on the given week and compiling it. That's some editing, and him following through on this vision is great. And there's a spot on the Discord where you can stay up to date on that podcast as well. So congrats to you, Mr. Rao. Other than that, guys, stay tuned. Come hang out with us next week when we've got our playthrough running.
Am I cueing the music?
24.
Did I tune you out?
You tuned me out.
He played you off the stage, dude. He played you off the stage. Get the hook. Get the hook.
I didn't know I could do that.
You didn't end the stream. We're still live, man.
Oh my gosh. No, I know. But did I play you out? Go. I interrupted you. End it properly.
I was closing it. I was trying to go through with the music, man.
All right, go ahead. We'll go back now.
Wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to 2024, and we'll be back with more. Come see us next week. Same time.
Peace out.
Bye, y'all.
Have a good night.